The cost of living is actually fucked.
She's $8.50.
I wish I could be proud to be Australian.
Are you fucking serious? I just went to a cafe this morning in Melbourne, Australia, and I paid $45 for 2 eggs on toast and avocado on the side.
Sydney, Australia is the second least affordable city in the world. Even compared to other Australian provincial capitals, it's far and away the most expensive.
I am nearly 27 years old, and today I am moving back in with my parents.
Cost of living out here in Australia is crazy. Let me show you.
30 cans of Coke for $50.
I'm sorry, but when did it start costing $1 million to live in today's day and age?
Australia's cost of living is out of control, and TikTok is furious. From 10 lettuces to 800 rents, we're breaking down the rants you need to hear. Let's start with the first rant, mates.
Cost of living out here in Australia is crazy. Let me show you.
30 cans of Coke for $50. This block of cheese, nearly $14.
$4.90 on offer for chocolate. No thanks. $7 just for some milk. How am I going to survive out here?
I'm sorry, but when did it start costing $1 million to live in today's day and age? Look, I normally never complain about this stuff because I'm a travel nurse and I get free accommodation and a higher salary. But I don't get annual leave, I don't get sick leave, so when I'm not working, I notice it. And so far it's been fine. I have had 2 months off. I've just had 3 weeks unpaid placement and I still have another month off because I don't have a contract lined up yet. And so I don't feel like I have any reason to complain. But when the cost of bread is $4.50, that's fucked. I know it's so silly because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm complaining about the cost of bread. And then how much was milk? Let me check the milk was. This isn't even for me. I'm buying this for my niece and my nephew and like my sister because I'm staying at theirs. So I bought them some stuff for dinner as well. Okay, so milk was $4.50 and bread was $4.40. Because I don't drink normal. I don't really drink milk. I usually just have like packet sachets for the coffee, like there's milk powder and that, so I never really need milk. And then I got some Kievs, which were reasonably cheap. I got 9 for $11, bananas $3 for 3, and then I got some sushi, and that was it. But then it came to $40.30 for 6 things. I got some garbage bags as well. So yeah, all of that cost me nearly as much as I make in 1 hour. And for someone with like a normal paying job, that's more than what they would earn in 1 hour. Like the cost of living is just fucked, to be honest. I really don't know how people are surviving with children, with other dependents. Like it's a lot.
Hi, George. Redfern25 is out here struggling with Aussie prices. $14 for cheese, $50 for Coke. Bro, if groceries keep rising, we'll all be living off air and regret. Meanwhile, Akili Starling is shocked by her 40 grocery haul. Bread and milk cost $9 combined. That's more than some people make in an hour. Bro, if this keeps up, we'll need a second job just to afford toast.
I wish I could be proud to be Australian. Look, don't get me wrong, I am proud to be Australian. It is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. The people here are amazing. But with the rising house costs, the cost of living skyrocketing, and inflation fucking up everything, no one can live sustainable. I remember being a kid and $100,000 a year was like, you've fucking made it. You were living in a nice house on the water, had boats, jet skis, $100,000 a year. You can't even fucking make it by with that anymore. For example, today I was at Woolworths. And this poor lady, she would have been in her 30s, and she had 3 kids with her, and she was paying for $20 worth of food to feed her family with fucking 5-cent coins, sitting there counting them one by one. 5-cent coins. We're meant to be the fucking lucky country. Shit like that shouldn't be around. Shit like that shouldn't be happening. It's just beyond fucked. The cost of living has fucked up everything, and it's just slowly getting worse and worse. That's why the second I get a chance, I'm going to make as much money as I fucking can online, and I'm going to fuck off until shit sorts itself out. Because at the way it's going, we're all going to be fucked.
Are you fucking serious? I just went to a cafe this morning in Melbourne, Australia, and I paid $45 for 2 eggs on toast and avocado on the side. And earlier this year, I was in Bali and it was like $10 to $15 for the same thing. Like, how are you even meant to live right now with the rising cost of living and inflation in Australia and work a normal job where you're earning $40,000 to $100,000 a year? Like, money just isn't the same anymore. $40,000 to $100,000 a year on a salary or working on an hourly rate, it just isn't the same as what it was 5 years ago. The inflation is crazy right now and things are just way more expensive than what they should be. It's just like ridiculous. I know there's so many people living paycheck to paycheck. They got smashed by the pandemic. So many people unemployed because they didn't want to take the jab. And just people that are barely have any money right now, more than whatever I've seen before. It's just ridiculous. Things shouldn't cost this much money.
A Flynn William is out here questioning Australian pride. 100K used to mean boats and jet skis. Now it means counting 5-cent coins at Woolies. Bro, if this is the lucky country, where's our lottery win? Meanwhile, at Cruiser Remote closing is shook by Melbourne cafe prices. $45 for eggs and avocado. Bro, in Bali, that's breakfast and a massage. At this rate, we'll all be moving to Bali and working remotely.
Sydney, Australia is the second least affordable city in the world. Even compared to other Australian provincial capitals, it's far and away the most expensive. But strangely, a lot of the downtown isn't growing. The parts of the city closest to the coast are seeing some of the lowest growth rates. And some of the most affluent areas are also seeing incredibly low growth rates. It's in the outskirts where the number of people moving in is exploding. But a lot of the growth that would otherwise be occurring is hamstrung for a few reasons. First is there are a lot of rules and regulations when building a house, and this can cost up to $160,000. Second, stringent zoning laws in and around the immediate area of Sydney are reducing the amount of homes that can be built in certain areas. And then there's also NIMBYism. NIMBY is an acronym which stands for Not in My Backyard. People don't want development in their neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods most equipped to fight back against growth in this way are the most affluent neighborhoods. Therefore, rates of construction are not keeping up with demand, and the cost of buying a home in Sydney remains extremely high.
Slowly but surely, the average Australian is waking up to the reality that immigration has cost us a lot more than it has benefited any of us. For all the wage growth slumps, for the inaffordable housing, for the increasingly more difficult to enter job market, Australians have lost a lot more than they have gained from this excessive immigration. Even the most staunch pro-immigration advocates are slowly repealing their positions. The economic and social problems that have presented themselves from this unsustainable immigration can no longer be ignored. And the sooner the average Australian accepts this and wakes up to this, they'll realise that these ideologies they subscribe to, the idea that you can add infinite warm bodies to an economy, are false. The most alarming is the fact that with all these costs in mind of wage slumps and housing and even groceries, children are unaffordable. When that Greens voter or that pro-immigration voter tries to have a family and realises that it's actually unaffordable, that they've been financially castrated, their one dream in life, that's to have kids and share the joy of life with them, has been ripped away from them by bureaucrats who themselves are sitting on a lofty enough wage to afford kids and be unbothered. The average Australian, the average working class Australian who can't afford kids, who's being chased out of their hometown. This sentiment is slowly being shared because young people, especially people who try to find share houses, rent, or even just to get groceries, are slowly realising there are causes and effects unrelated to the natural ebbs and flows of the economy, that something artificial, something like immigration, has displaced basic desires and things that were once taken for granted, like being able to have kids.
A distant.elephant breaks down Sydney's housing crisis. Rich NIMBYs block new homes while construction costs $160,000 in red tape. Bro, if zoning laws were a dating app, Sydney would be swiping left on affordable housing. Meanwhile, at Ausbil drops truth bombs, mass immigration killed the Aussie dream, wages down, homes unaffordable, even kids are a luxury now. Bro, when avocado toast costs less than daycare, you know we're cooked.
I am nearly 27 years old and today I am moving back in with my parents. This is not the plan I had for 27-year-old me, but that is just how bad the rental crisis is at the moment. I've been living on my own for the last 3 years. When I first started living on my own, I was paying $280 a week in rent. It was actually kind of fine. to pay rent on my own, and I've never had like an outstanding salary. The reason why I'm moving back in with my parents is because my landlord wanted to increase my rent now to $450 a week. Now, I live in a small 1-bedroom apartment in an old building. It's nothing flash. Sure, I live in a good suburb. I live in Malvern. I'm probably just paying for location, but I have to pay to do my laundry. There's cracks in the walls. Like, it's nothing flashy. Like, it's not worth $450 a week. That's like $2,000 a month. What are people supposed to do? I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful that I can move back in with my parents, but not everyone can do that. So what's your alternative? Like, you're homeless? The thing that really grinds my gears is that I am 99% sure that my landlord does not have a mortgage on this place, so that can't even be an excuse for landlords on here. She's owned this place since about 1980, and I know for a fact she has 2 investment properties. So she's just making money off what she can from the market. And I was like, there is no way I can afford this. And I have been an outstanding tenant, like outstanding. Rent's never been late. My inspections are always absolutely spotless. I've never caused any issues. And this is why my generation can't get ahead, why we can't buy houses. Like, I've been paying 20 grand a year in rent. But if I went to go get a house loan, they wouldn't see that as, oh, she can pay 20 grand a year. No, I have no savings because of how much I've been paying in rent and bills. That's why my parents were like, move home, save that money and try and get ahead. I'm so grateful. I love my family and I don't have any issues moving back home with them. I do have an issue with the fact that they live over the other side of Geelong and I'm still going to be traveling to Melbourne for work. So that's going to be so much fun. But what do people do? I'm so lucky I have such a great family that I can move back in with. But what's the alternative? Homelessness? Like, the government really needs to get on top of this because honestly, the state of the rental market at the moment is absolutely fucked.
The cost of living is actually fucked. She's $8.50 and that's on special. $10 for a block of cheese. What is that? That's for 30 cans of Coke. Are you serious? How do you live these days?
Jamupson Mengpike is moving back home at 27 because her rent jumped to $450 a week. My landlord owns 3 properties, but still wants to bleed me dry. Bro, if renting was a horror movie, landlords would be the villains. Meanwhile, at Lookout is losing it at grocery prices. $8.50 for bread, $10 for cheese. Bro, at this rate, we'll all be eating air sandwiches. When a block of cheese costs more than your self-respect, you know we're cooked. Are you struggling with Aussie prices? Sound off below. Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for more real talk. Until then, good luck finding affordable Avo toast.